I will call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. Advise the public we are being both broadcast live and recorded by the Raynham Channel, and I would ask folks to join us in the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Excuse me. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those are approved. Department heads, we have one tonight. Our building commissioner, Bob Iafredi. Bob?
Good evening. Thanks for having me. Be brief. Calendar year activities for last 2 months so far. Electrical permits 32, plumbing permits 63, building permits 51, sheet metal 5 permits, 1 trench permit for a total of 49,762. We've experienced a little bit of slowdown due to the weather and the time of the year, but we expect things to ramp up pretty quickly. And there are a bunch of things in the pipeline. A couple other things going on out of my office. Senior Center project. I've purchased the paint and the ceiling tiles. Now we're working on getting some labor prices, so the material is on site. We're trying to find some funding to get some bids in to get the labor done so that we can get the inside of the building freshened up. So that's why we are with that. As you know, the planning board has 2 giant projects in front of them, both at 1958 Broadway, the simulcast submission and the warehousing submission. We had our first public hearing on that last Thursday night. Those have been continued to our March meeting. On the 15th, I had a department head meeting, which I put together in this room, just to talk about some of the issues that may arise when those 2 sites get developed. And then the following afternoon, we had a site walk where all the department heads and the proponents and members of the planning board actually did a site walk on the site. We had the building corners staked out just to get an idea of the magnitude of the project. Public safety building. Right now, as we were last time I reported to you, we're working out site issues with the property. We're waiting for some engineering reports. As it stands now, the building design is pretty much finalized. We're just waiting for some information on the site so we can site the building on the site. I've had a couple of meetings with the Department of Agriculture, actually 3 meetings hosted by the Senator's office. I believe we've given them everything they need, and we're on a course to get the transfer of the land approved. The ACO building, again, we're in the middle of waiting for bids. We need to get 3 bids on all inside work. The outside's pretty much all done. So I'll report to you when that moves forward. Master plan. Last week we had 2 public meetings via Zoom on the 14th and the 16th to talk about the draft document and to give get some feedback from the people who showed up at the meeting. We talked about the implementation process. Right now, if you read the draft plan, it's implemented by the planning board and the planning department. So we have some discussions to work out what's going to happen as far as implementing the plan once it does get approved. So we'll have those discussions moving forward. We're going to have a final document for everyone to review by the end of March. And we'll be in front of this board and the planning board for public hearings in April. Not sure if we can get it on the warrant and then have the public meetings after it's on the warrant, because I know the warrant has a deadline at the end of March. So with some guidance from you and the town administrator, I'd like to get an idea on how we can handle that so that we can have it on the warrant for the spring town meeting. That's pretty much all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
Great. Mr. Shaw, any questions?
There's a lot going on, that's for sure. A lot of projects going on. No, I don't. But thank you, Bob.
Thank you. Ms. Riley?
No, that's a huge list of items going on for sure. Just want to thank you, Mr. Iafredi, especially for having that department head meeting. That is, as has been pointed out, going to be a huge project. in the town of Raynham, and certainly important to get our department heads' input as to how they're going to deal with it and so forth. I know they gave some input. Are you getting that input to the planning board? Is that the way that's going to work?
Yeah, as it came in, it was given to the planning board. Like I said, we had a first initial meeting. We'll probably have 1 or 2 more meetings, maybe possibly more than that. I'm not sure how things will work out. But both of those projects, they came pretty well prepared. They've done this before, so they have a lot of information on the table already. It's out. We're waiting for our third-party review for the project from Steve Ventresca and Niche Engineering. So that's basically what we're waiting for. And both police and fire and conservation have voiced their concerns, and those concerns were given to all the planning board members.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bob, any updates on the 44 project next to Wendy's?
I have no update on that project. I know I fielded 3 or 4 phone calls. Apparently the property is on the market. You're talking about next to Wendy's or
Yes.
Friendly's? Oh, Wendy's.
Yeah, next
okay.
to Wendy's.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about too. So I fielded a couple of phone calls from other developers wanting to know what could go there. So I'm not so sure if the project is moving forward or not. We've had it continued probably 5 or 6 times where we've had canceled meetings because they weren't coming and they weren't prepared for us. That's another one of those things. As soon as the information hits my office, I'll share it with you.
Great. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
All right. We have no appointments this evening. Excuse me, no public hearings. Old business, Mr. Shivo?
Yes, a couple of things, Mr. Chico. Made a note. I would like to ask the town administrator for an update on replacing the recording secretary. I know we talked about it at the last meeting. There were a couple of candidates. The one that sounded very favorable was the person that does the recording for the sewer department and one of the other departments. Again, I'm not really, I don't recall. Do you recall, Joe?
I don't.
Well, any event, we should have an update on that. Where are we with regard to the transcriber? The other thing, Joe, is that we received last week the resumes for the candidates for the animal control officer, and I have talked directly with our HR person. They had a number of inquiries, but she made it very clear that the vast majority of them, with the exception of 2 or 3, were just simply not qualified. And so they have sent over the 3 resumes that they're recommending that we, the board, interview and make a decision. And I'm going to suggest that we have those interviews next week. We've had the resumes all week, and that would be my suggestion if the board has any questions.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. I would say tentatively only because the town administrator is out this week. We have to coordinate and make sure everybody's available to come in. So I think we could schedule it with the caveat
Fine.
that people might not be available.
That's fine, okay. The other thing I had is, I've seen a couple of interim memos from our part-time health agent, Alan, and I think he's moving ahead, and I thought that it might be helpful if the board agrees to have him in at one of our meetings to kind of give us a face-to-face update of where we are, what are the issues, what are the things working well, what do we have to do. I know he's put in a couple of notes that I've seen that said things are moving along, but I think we need to have a little better feel, and I think he's doing a great job, don't misunderstand, I really do. He's moved in there, but I'd like to suggest to the board that we have him in here for a meeting to give us a little bit of face-to-face, what are some of the things that we should know as a board. If the board doesn't agree with that, certainly a report that's a little bit more detailed, one or the other.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I think as long as he's able to do that, because he's part-time, and
I know.
when we onboarded him, it was for days, so
Sure.
if his schedule permits for the evenings.
Yeah, and if he can't make it for the evening, then let's at the very least get a report that has enough detail that the board can digest what our progress is there and what are the things we have to be concerned about, okay? I think the last thing I want to say is, I know we have meetings scheduled for tomorrow with the Collins Center in terms of, doing our homework relative to posting for the replacement town administrator. And I just want to remind the board that there are other issues on that survey, and I think those issues are time sensitive. So we need to start, I know that the delay in the other issues is kind of based on the delays in replacing the town administrator, but there are issues there that are time sensitive: compensation, board communication, other department related issues. And I just would like the board to stay tuned and close to the fact that we need to deal with those as well. We had the whole town, well, the majority of the town respond, and I think we owe them a response. Those are my issues.
Thank you. Ms. Riley, any old business?
No, I think Mr. Shavo covered the waterfront. Thank you.
Thank you.
New business, we have one item. It's the reapproval of a 2-year contract with Patriot Energy. It's the fixed gas supply contract to all town buildings at a discounted rate of 0.695 per therm. What is the board's pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That is approved. Any other new business, Mr. Shivo?
No.
Ms. Riley?
No, thank you.
All right. Town administrator's report. Deb, is there anything?
No, I didn't receive a report this week.
Okay. Thank you. Selectmen's report, Mr. Shivo?
No.
Ms. Riley?
The only thing I would say is next week is the last meeting before the special election. I know our town clerk has prepared and is going to be sending out notices to voters, reminding them there is a special election. I was just wondering, Mr. Chairman, if we could put it on the agenda for next week. Not that we're going to take any action, but just so that we could have some discussion to make sure everyone knows what's going on. And if, I know it's last minute, but if our Raynham representative to Bristol Plymouth is available, if he could join us just again to just talk it a little, discuss it a little bit, I would appreciate that.
Sure. Did you want to coordinate that invite, or are you looking for me to?
If you could do that,
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, that would be fine. Thank you.
No problem. And the only thing I was going to add to BP was last week and again tonight, they've done 2 additional educational forums via Zoom district-wide for folks to get additional information on it. So their building rep has been out doing that publicity to bring additional attention to it. All right. Correspondence, we only have one piece. We received correspondence from Massasoit Greyhound proposing a set of mitigation measures for the project at 1958 Broadway. As the board's aware, we're not legally obligated. They're not legally obligated to provide mitigation, but they are offering this in lieu of, in addition to the existing tax assessment, and they are proposing $250,000 to the Raynham Fire Department to purchase a emergency vehicle, $50,000 to the Raynham Police towards the purchase of a patrol vehicle, registering all vehicles associated with county-owned businesses as owner of record within the town, and contingent upon MassDOT or their designee approval, design, engineering, and construction of signalization off 138 in front of the location. What would the board like to do?
Mr. Chairman, I certainly appreciate the offer, but I would respectfully request we table it for a week. If we could, I would just like to check with our police chief and our fire chief to see if they think this would meet their needs, basically.
Yeah, that's fine. Your motion is to table it for a week?
Yes.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That is approved. We have no other correspondence, no members of the press with us this evening, no emergency businesses, and the community input? No? I will entertain a motion to approve the Raynham invoice and payroll warrants.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those are approved. I will entertain a motion to approve the police invoice and payroll warrants.
So moved.
Second.
And roll call, Mr. Shivo?
Aye.
Ms. Riley?
Aye.
And I will abstain. That passes. If there's no other business, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.